I had a lot of fun doing this, so thank you for sticking around for this long for my boring ramblings. I really hope you learned something. Um, okay, so last we saw I only had one render. Um, when I did the one render with the passes, I did two other ones, one for each side. And I imported all the passes just like the first one. So I cut out with the mask and I added the ambient occlusion and the shadow. Really not doing that much, but it's already quite good to start with. And then I dragged those in I put them in a folder, and then I dragged the whole folder into my my total image. So there, if you can see here, Warrior B, Warrior A, so you can just turn everyone off, and you can also, if you want, drag them around. I have downloaded from CG Textures again this Brick Old Dirty, and where are we? There. I just put it behind, so as you can see, it's here. I put a spotlight on it, which we did with the filters, where is it? Render lighting effects, just to add a little bit of directional light and make it a little bit more interesting. That's my old one, which you saw in the last lesson. I can throw that away. I've got like a layer above it, which just to make it a little bit darker. Maybe give it a little bit more, that way allows you to quite simply add a little bit more light in there, fake it. I'm making the bottom a bit darker, which you really don't see anymore, I guess. So I'm gonna take that one out, don't need it. Then these, I kind of like what they do with the background, even though they're way too big, these things, what do you call them, drips. And because I decided to make it 3 characters instead of 1, and I'm doing that mostly because of the format on the Tutorial Tutors website. Like a character standing is more like a standing image, and this will fit better. So, and also it gives like a nice sort of view of our character in multiple multiple angles. And I try to give it sort of the impression that it was darker here and lighter here, even though they were all lit with the same lights. The lights stay in the same place when you rotate them. So this one looks darker already, and then I added on the top, I added a gradient which I just multiply across and just creates the illusion that it gets darker to the sides. And this one can go as well. These two I duplicated this one to the side, but now I got 2 layers, and they're both opacity 40 and overlay. If I want to add them together, if I do it now, then they just go to normal and opacity 100, but I don't want to do that because I want to keep my ability to use every the opacity. So I'm going to put the opacity at 100 and then combine them and set them to overlay again, and then set the opacity back to 40. I will put this Photoshop file on the site so you guys can have a look. Actually, I might have done something differently. Let's see here. Let's undo here. Are we undoing? No. Undo. I think because we gotta set this to normal and put the opacity at 100. Otherwise, if you don't set this to normal, it still takes into account what it looks like. So now we can combine them. And then we set the overlay back to overlay, the blending mode back to overlay, and set this to 40. So there we go. And now it's only 1 layer, which you can turn off and on. And then there is all my splatter masks, which are just the same splatter masks I got from CG Textures. I only use 2. I just rotate and put it on the background just to make it a bit more dirty, and I don't know, that's sort of what we're going for, right? So sort of seems to fit. Okay, so then we have all the warriors. What I wanted to do is, as you can see, this warrior is a bit red. The red values are a bit high, so we can just take the color balance, and in the midtones we take some red out. Just have a look. Maybe in the shadows as well. Don't make them too blue. Can be quite maybe too much already. This one is -17. And the highlights. Alright, that's better. It just makes it a little less saturated without taking out saturation, if that makes sense. And as you can see, this one has a shadow, which is completely fake. What I did is I take the masks and I invert it, and then I multiply that, and then I put it behind, move it, and add a Gaussian blur of, well, a lot of, it's very fake, and it sort of works because we don't see the bottom, otherwise it's just like a image behind it basically. And we can take the opacity back a bit. It just sets them away from the background, which you want here. So let's see, do we still have, oh, we don't. Well, that's smart. Oh, we can also, because we cut this out, we can just control click here, and it makes a selection of your layer, which is really handy. And then we can just fill that with black. Make sure that we have the paint buckets. Oh, that's not black, is it? And it looks shaded because there's things on top which multiply on top of it. So we put that one on the bottom. Control D takes your selection away. And then we put that one here, and it should have my latest Gaussian blur. There you go. I'll just give it a little bit of a shadow just to, again, to make it stand out from the background a bit. Okay, now there's one last thing I wanted to do before I'm gonna leave you guys. I downloaded this grunge map, again from CG Textures, which is awesome. I wanted to see if we can do something with it. So what I usually do is I click this, and then with the down arrow key you can cycle through your blending modes, and you can just see what stands out. And I think that maybe overlay, or I like the soft light, and then obviously we're going to bring back the opacity. It's just a tiny little bit. See, it just brings it all together a bit more, sort of blends it in. Yeah, I think I'm quite happy with that. I'm using some layers here to darken their feet, because otherwise it doesn't. It looks like they're floating or something. And when I look at this, let's see, I think just nudge it up a tiny bit, and maybe this one nudge them down. And because it's the group, they all go. And there you have it. That is the image I'm going to put online. I'll put the Photoshop file, which is a higher resolution. So this one is 2600 by 143, and you can just scale that down to 2K. But it's nice to work at a higher resolution, because if you need to do anything, it's always good to have that extra bit. Alright guys, thank you very much for listening. Well, as I said, I really hope it was useful, and I had a lot of fun doing it. Alright, and hopefully I'll do another one and see you then. Or, well, I won't see you, I won't hear you, but I know you're listening. Alright, bye.